How you doing, Internet? I'm B-Nuts, and today we'll be taking a look at the ASRA Archer from the Megami Device line by Kotobukiya. And this is Volume 6 and the second of the ASRA set from Megami Device. And if you weren't familiar with it, Megami Device is a sister line to Frame Arms Girls and successor line to Buso Shinki. And it is this one, the Archer, is supposed to be the companion piece to the ASRA Ninja. ASRA Archer comes with a whopping 26 runners and bags, although as you can see, most of them are actually very small. So you can end up with a lot of smaller runners, and even in the larger one you have a lot of pieces that aren't going to be used for this build. One surprise inclusion, which I've never seen before, but I guess it came with some other stuff, is this comic, which shows these super deformed versions of the Megami Device figures. And as you can see, this one starts off with page 20, so I'm not going in the back or anything. This is the order that they're actually in. And I am curious to know exactly what they're saying, although it does seem to be that they're going over the different models within the line and just actually talking about each other. And here you have the Hornet, which I also have. So if someone wants to take on the challenge of translating these as best they can, I would appreciate that. Although I'm not sure exactly how much you can get from this. That they're actually in, and I'm going to try to go through the pages as quickly as I can. Hopefully what I can show you will help. And interestingly enough, there they translate it as Load Runner as opposed to Road Runner. As well as the low visibility set. I think that uses more grays than orange that's on Soul, Roadrunner, and Hornet. But other than that, they're not all that different, I think, than the original versions. The ones that are different are, say, you take the ASRA set, like Archer, and the Ari version, which is it has brown hair and uses clear pink parts as opposed to the dull gray that you saw on the bow. So that is this comic. Also included, of course, is a decal sheet, and this one is significantly larger than, I think it's larger anyway, than what you might consider. I haven't applied any of them, but you do have the options, including for the eyes. And you've got the Megami Device symbol there in white and red. And somewhere around here is the ASRA marking. But anyway, that is a big marking sheet. Extra parts. So here are a bunch of joints. And since you had 2K runners, you have the outside of the sword, the big one that's at her side, but not the middle part, so you can't completely recreate the sword. You don't have the hilt either. And you have all of these joints, I suppose if something breaks you could replace them, or if you want to build something and you need joints, well then there you go. You also have a whole bunch of other joints here. These ones are for the back of the neck. One of them you can use in order to use frame armor girls' heads. And then you have these other joints, which were also on other runners, but I didn't want to keep the entire runner, so I just cut them off to keep. And when I mentioned the other extra parts which you don't use, you've got most of the torso, but not all of it. And you can see some parts are missing on the inside there and there, and the top there for the neck. But most of it, I think this reminds me of parts from Basilard because it's more flat. But you can probably figure out something to use with that if you really wanted to. I've also got an extra headband. It's the one that's over there. You've got for the back of the shoulders in white. Also got hands. So you have the closed fists, the open straight fingers, and holding hands in white. This is for the unarmored mode. And then you've got the same hands, fists, open straight finger, open spread finger, and trigger finger holding hands in black for the armored mode. Because I used them earlier on the unarmored mode, these are a trigger finger hand and an open hand. And you can see that the companions are on the arms here. For the armored mode, this version of the head, which has this on the back and it covers the ears, I'm not very fond of that, so I just used the normal head on her. But you can also see her expression, slightly looking off and focused. You can see the smiling expression, kind of crazy or grinning. And you've got this piece for bracing a heavy weapon. And make no mistake, that is a heavy weapon, and I already have a brace on it. This one is, I think, for the sword. And you've got an adapter for the base. You would plug it in from this side and then mount her on top there. But I have a gripe against this kind of stand because it is very, very flimsy. You have this very small circular stand and then the ball joint in there and another ball up here that doesn't really want to stay, and then this stick is also bending slightly. When you combine that with a very heavy, very large longbow, then you have something that will not stand on its own as long as it is armed. And that, in my opinion, is no good at all. Fortunately, ASRA Archer does have the looks to make up for the fact that she cannot stand on her own unaided. Although I would prefer a more stable and stronger stand, and of course this is her without any of the decals applied. I do have to say that switching heads was simpler than with Baihu. Well, anyway, with the armored hand on, you have looking up, looking down quite a lot, and it's that far there and you can't do side to side, so take it a bit up, although not enough that it will fall off. You may have to balance that, but you can do it all the way around. And of course, her ponytail can go around, as can her ribbon, which is separate, as is this. It's a kind of weird gold, similar but not quite the same as the swirly gold that Bandai uses. Arm goes up as much as you would like. Hinge forward at the shoulder blade. It is very nice. So the one that track, so it can go like that. Can rotate. Bend at the elbow more than 90 degrees, and remember this is the armored version, and there's a ball joint at the wrist for all your posing needs there. Then you have slight rotation. Oops, it comes off at the torso. And if the weapon wasn't in the way, well, but it can still rotate all the way around. Also bend up there. More back than forward, but then it starts to come off. And you don't want it to come off. Then bend at the waist, which is quite a bit. Of course, the bow is on a peg, so it can rotate. There goes that. The longbow. These things are just pegged in on both sides, so they can come up and down. I'll do. This is pegged in, as is this. And when you take the leg up, it can go only that far before this interferes. Forward this far. Backward this far. Out. Almost all the way. Nice bend at the knee. And this goalie-like hockey pad thing. So wiggles slightly. Then you come to the foot, which is pegged in at an angle. It encounters that. And this can go up and down. Rotation. Not really all the way around, but if you took that, whoops, not supposed to come off with the whole leg. From the foot got in the way. Let me put that back on. And it can go up that far without the padding on. And I kind of do like without the padding on. I'm not exactly sure what its purpose is other than to hold these short blades. So of course you've got her sword. And just like that, and can go into the hand. No, I don't like wrestling with these fingers because I'm always concerned I might break them. But there we go. It is a bit loose, but you know, what exactly do you want there? And with the bow, of course, you have a few points of articulation here on both sides of the blades. And make no mistake, those are blades. So what you want to do is take that out, and then it would fit into the hand, like that. If the hand did not come off. But the hands are always coming off. It is a good thing that that can come off and join simply. That way you can use it for whatever you want very easily. So, setting that aside, you also, of course, have the unarmored version. And to do that, you need to take off a few parts. So first, I'm going to set aside the arm. Actually, before the arm, it might have been wiser if I had gone after the torso first. But we'll see how this goes. And of course, we have to switch the head back. And the expression can be changed just as simply. Yeah, that lines up. Lower down, then this comes in. Set those aside. And before I put the head on, I need to take that off. Okay, this is why I said that I should probably go after the torso first. This pops out. Get this one. And these breasts. I popped off. Oh, hand. Give her a hand. Oh yes, and this is part of the armor too. And here we have Unarmored Archer. With or without the arms, you can clearly see that she's got a, well, if not a lot more exposed, then significantly more, but she definitely carries a cuter appearance when she's not all armed up and a big threat. But as well, you know, it carries the video game trope of less armor, higher armor class, I guess, with a lot exposed in the front, together with what's exposed in the back, because, of course, her elbows, her shoulders, and her thighs were always exposed, as was most of her back. But now you've got the stuff in the front too. But even if you consider that, you might consider whether or not her articulation has changed. So let's take a look. Well, that's the neck. Looking all the way down. And there too. Up and down. Obviously, if the head is going to fall off, it won't rotate. And ponytail is the same as is in the ribbon. And you'll notice with the hands that they don't have the ball joint that the black ones do. The ball joint is the separate joint, which of course can twist like this and rotate like this. And again, you've got that joint in the back with a shoulder blade, oops, which can move forward and back like that, so that you have this able to move forward the right way, move along the track. Actually, I think that's upside down now. Anyway, that can move up and down all the way that way. But when I put it back in, it can go all the way up there. These joints, man, they're all over the place. The bend at the elbow is very, very nice. You can go straight like that as well. I lost the hand again, but I spoke about that earlier. The upper crunch, of course, and side to side, which I forgot about earlier. There's no longbow in the way this time. Forget about that hand for now. And lower down. These things are completely unrestricted. Then we get to the legs. And they can go all the way there, all the way forward, all the way back. And rotation, of course. Oh, forgot about that, but there is rotation on the legs as well, because they're like that as well. Well, those were joined on here, so the rotation is the same. Like that. Very nice double jointed knee. And for these weird shoes, tilting only slightly before it falls out. Nice forward and back. And that's about it for that. And I do have to say that I preferred the armored up battle ready version more, because of course that's the version that's going to be taken seriously. And there is something that I forgot to mention earlier, or actually I mentioned it, but I didn't really cover it. And that is that you can take this and add it onto here, for both of them. So you have those blades that can go on there. Actually, it's like that. And they can go on either side. And of course, because they're very wing-like, take that off the stand. So you can, if you want, stow the bow back here. And you can also use them as wings. And wings of a sort. So now, as you can clearly see, I've armored her back up, except that I've taken off the pads from the front with their strange gold. I did possibly lose a hard point, maybe not, because you can see there's one on there, there's one on the inside. No, I didn't lose one, because there's also one on the front. So I moved the bow from there to there, and the other one up onto her shoulder. So there are hard points aplenty for connections and plenty of opportunities to attach whatever you want to attach to her any way you might want to. The only thing is that, as I've noticed when I was reviewing Baihu, the proportions don't match between this Megami device and Frame Armor's Girl Baihu. So you're going to have some issues trying to match those up and trying to combine them. There are some things that will work. Anything with the standard 3mm peg or port will work with this, and you do have a few of those that you can use. They're just black peg kind of connections that you can use in order to connect anything to anything, as long as it has one of those ports. For comparison, how about a few unusual companions? Here we have the Caradine Trans Am, we have the Goof R35 with Amazing Red Warrior's bazooka, we have most of the Star Winning, which I will use in my Ruby Gundam project, and we have Super Femina Axis Angel version, but so you can see that she's taller than your average high grade, but not as tall as a master grade. And as well, there are a lot of differences between her proportions in the way a Femina is proportioned. You can see that especially in the torso, in the waist, and in the head. They're just different sizes for some reason, even though they're both, well, you can't exactly say that they're the same sort of girl, can you? Not necessarily, anyway. It's almost, you still can compare them because they're the same sort of concept. They're just executed differently. Very, very differently. I'm still creeped out by the Fumina's eyes. You don't get that kind of creeped out with the faceplates, which you can switch, which are pre-painted from either the Figma or the Megami device or the FA girls. Just a different way to do it, and it is so much better looking in the end. And as well, you can see that she has a good balance of items because she has a ranged weapon, she has 3 swords, 2 kunai. No shield though. Like Baihu, she doesn't have shields. Maybe these can be used as shields. Yeah, I think they can be used that way, as they have a peg there. So I would use these as shields and be kind of like Azzy Gundam's shield, because they're small. But she's fairly small too, so I think that would work. So I think they do kind of work as small shields. And that one I've got higher up on the shoulder, I've got it on that hard point, and point it the other way. And for this one, I've have it more connected onto a more traditional point for a shield, and I've also moved the bow back onto it. But turned around the other way, since the shield is turned around the other way. And then you still have the exposed legs with the bow on one side of it. So I think that works pretty well. And actually, come to think of it, there are quite a few opportunities for customization in this, primarily because there are so many ports and there are so many options that one could use with the Megami Device. And then Samurai ASRA Ninja mode, which is the full armor mode with ninja parts, or the ninja's parts. And then in the back you have color guide for painting, as well as the decal guide both for the unarmored part, includes those red strips at the top of the thigh highs, and then the armored mode decals front, back, and top, and then the weapons there and sides. All in all, I really do like ASRA Archer. I like that she has a lot of choices. I like that she has a lot of weapons that you can use with her and with other things. You can switch her up if you get bored of seeing her one particular way. You can arrange her into a different way so that you can have her on a shelf in that way. And that's just one of the better things about both Megami Device and FA Girls, that you can change things up so many ways and have a fresh display every single time. So I would highly recommend ASRA Archer to those who like the design and enjoy the design and enjoy being able to do all these different things with it. And if you want, you can also pick her up at HobbyLink Japan, HLJ.com. So that about does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, you can leave a like, comment below what you thought, subscribe to show your support for my channel, and visit my Patreon. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye!